how are you doing? Today is Tuesday, August 20th, and I am back with a stitching update. It has been 4 weeks since my last one, so I hope you have been doing well. If you're brand new to my channel, welcome. My name is Olivia. Today's video is just going to be another update, just cross stitching. I don't have any quilting to show and share in today's video, but if you like cross stitching, I hope you will stick around for a bit. I'd like to start off today's video by saying a big thank you to everybody who tuned in to my last update video, and also for those of you who tuned into my first QuiltyTube video. I had an absolute blast creating that content, and I'm gonna do, so when I first started making Flosstube videos, I made myself promise that I'd give it 6 months and then kind of reevaluate. So I'm going to do the same thing with the QuiltyTube videos. I do have enough content kind of figured out to do 5, maybe 6 videos. So if quilts are definitely your cup of tea, I hope you will give those videos a try. I'll put a link to that first official video down below. And then in 2 weeks from today, another QuiltyTube video will come out, and I think that one is going to be about the everyday quilts that I keep around the home year round. So I think that's going to be a fun video to create as well. Speaking of quilting, unfortunately, I will not have a quilting update for this video. Over the past 4 weeks, I have had no time to do any quilting for myself. I quilted for a couple of clients, and in my free time, I've been working hard at getting my primitive autumn goods complete. They're getting there. Most of them are painted now. There's some that didn't quite make the batch cutoff, but it's getting there. It's taken me a lot longer than I thought it would to get those items ready for the Etsy shop, but slowly but surely they will eventually make their way, hopefully the first part of September, to the Etsy shop. And I do apologize for the delay. I know a lot of you guys are, eagerly anticipating and waiting for them, and I do greatly appreciate your enthusiasm. I will get there eventually. However, the only quilt that I do have to talk about today, we'll just go ahead and talk about it right now, and that is the one hanging up behind me. I decided, I think it was this past week, to go ahead and swap everything out. I went from patriotic to what I like to call my late summer look, and the quilt that I made last year is the perfect one. It's got all of those beautiful late summer colors that I love. So the quilt hanging out behind me is called Spangled by Kim Deal, and the fabric line that it was created from is Kim Deal's fabric line called Scraps of Kindness. It was so much fun to create. I love it. I was eagerly anticipating this one coming out this year because it's so perfect for this time of the year. I just love it. So the last time I did my update video, it was 4 weeks ago. It's hard to believe that another 4 weeks have rolled on by. That video came out tail end of July, and now we're nearing the tail end of August, which I still cannot believe. Started out the beginning of the month by celebrating my daughter Allison's 23rd birthday, which was so surreal because when I was her age, I guess I was more pushing 24, but when I was 23, I was married, and then I was pregnant with her, and then to celebrate her 23rd birthday, it was just, I just don't even know where the time went. But she had a good day, and then we had a party for her over the weekend, and it was a lot of fun to celebrate that with her. So it's usually during this part of summer when I definitely get all the fall feels. I don't decorate for autumn yet. I should take that back a little bit because there is an autumn quilt with pumpkins hanging across the room. But when I decorate for autumn, the first thing I do is Halloween, and it's way too early for me to decorate for Halloween. So I usually wait until it gets like the second week in September, and then I will start decorating. But I know a lot of people have already started, and it definitely makes me want to do it. And then I have to remind myself it's still August. So I still got a few more weeks to go before I can roll out all the Halloween stuff. In my next update video, everything behind me will be Halloween. So it's my favorite time of the year. I'm anxiously awaiting it. But I have been really wanting to stitch autumn. It's called to me. It's my comfort stitching. I know I usually stitch autumn year round, but this time of the year, it calls to me. And this one night after I got off of work, I was window shopping on the internet. And I sometimes do that. I will go into an online shop and then I'll load up my shopping cart. And then I will just click and go about my business, not buying anything, but I just enjoy window shopping. Much like we used to do when we were kids and we'd go to the mall, we would just window shop because, our allowances wouldn't, cover the amazing new outfit that was hanging out in the window. That was all the rage and the trend and all that. So I was window shopping, and there is an online, I can't remember what the name of it is. It's like some sort of a primitive mercantile. It's an online marketplace where creators can create primitive goods and then they can go onto this website and they can sell it. And so once a month it opens up and people can go on there and then they can purchase their primitive goods. And usually it's like holidays, people will go on there to get a lot of their holiday primitive items. So I was on there. It was just kind of like seeing what people were creating and window shopping. And I came across this one online. So it's like the website is an online store, but within this online store, they have individual store fronts, is what we'll call it. So I was in this individual store front and I saw this adorable primitive cross stitch small. And I loved it. And it had already sold by the time I had found it. So there was no information other than the person who created it. So the first thing that I did was try to do a reverse Google image search and had no luck. And I spent like 3 days, anytime I thought of something, just to kind of key in keywords or phrases or something where I could maybe get this design to pop up and reveal itself. I had zero luck. So I am part of a text group. So I sent a photograph of the computer. I just did like a quick snapshot of it. And I sent it to the group to ask if anybody had seen it before. Nobody had. And Solely Stitches, Tara, she also did a Google reverse image search, got a little bit more information than I did. It actually took her to a Facebook page which had the same photograph on it, and the lady who stitched the pillow, it was her Facebook page. And her page is called Thistle Tree Hollow. Her name is Erica. So Tara was like, well, why don't you contact her and see if you can get any information out? So I'm always really I'm a chicken. And I was worried that, because I don't know this person, I don't know anything about them, but I've heard horror stories about when another stitcher reaches out to a stitcher inquiring about something, and then that person gets really mad. Doesn't want to give any of the information out, is like offended that you even asked, even though you're a stitcher and she's a stitcher and she's selling her stitched piece and you just want to stitch it for yourself, not sell it. So I was a little bit nervous about reaching out, but I just decided, to heck with it. The worst that could happen is she just completely ignores me. So I send the message to Erica, and I forget what I went and did, but within like 10 minutes there was a response from her, and it turns out she knew who I was and was super excited I had reached out to her and is a fan of the channel, and so that just made me super happy, and she shared the information with me. So I realize I've went on about this story, but I can't show it to you without telling you like the background. So she sent me the link of the image, and it's called, I believe, Jack in a Halloween Cup. And I'm just gonna hold this up. So this is what I printed out. It's a freebie. And it comes from a blog run by La Comtesse, and I'll put a link to it down below. Again, it is a freebie. And I was able to download the chart. And then what you have to do is you have to pull your own colors for it. It doesn't come with a stitch legend. So basically it's got like brown, yellow, there's like orange, dark orange, and then a couple of different greens. So I popped into my stash. I quickly pulled colors I thought really worked together. The vibe I was going for was sort of that vintage Halloween that I decorate with, and I stitched it. It took me about 2 evenings to stitch. It was so much fun, and it was just so satisfying to have a finish really quickly. I decided to stitch it on a piece of 40 count Cocoa by Weeks Dye Works, and I used all over dyed threads from my stash. If you're interested in the threads that I used, I will list them down below, and I will also put a link to the blog post. So Jack in a Cup, she posted the blog back in the blog post back in November of 2022, but I had a hard time just Googling La Comtesse and then her blog. Erica provided a link, which took me right to it. But just going on and trying to find it without just, going in and putting Jack in a Cup, La Comtesse, November 2022 sometimes brings it up and sometimes it doesn't. But I'll put a link to it down below. It's a lot easier because it'll take you right to the blog post. She also has a lot of other freebies. I downloaded a Christmas piece that I would like to stitch this year, and it'll just be like a little ornament. But so much fun. I absolutely love this. I'm going to finish it into a little pillow small for the trench bowl, and I can't wait. Thought I would be able to get that done before today's video, but I ran out of time. But I loved working on it. It was an absolute blast. And again, I will put all of the information for this down below in the description box if you're at all interested, and also the overdyed colors that I used. I basically just went into my stash and I picked colors that were my aesthetic, and just kind of went from there. But I had a blast making it. And I thought that would satisfy my craving for working on Halloween. It didn't. So I ended up starting something else, which I'll show here momentarily. I do want to say a quick thank you to Erica for being so very kind and getting back to me and sending me the link. I don't want to say that I was borderline obsessed with the piece, but I wanted to stitch it. And so the fact that she, sent me all that information. I mean, so I read her email, and an hour later, I was stitching on it. I had a blast stitching it, and every time I see this piece, I will always remember you and your kindness and just thank you. I went to Michael's and I ordered 2 custom-made frames for 2 of my pieces, one of them being And Heaven and Nature Sing. Now they are a little bit more expensive than Hobby Lobby, and I don't think I will be using them very often for getting custom frames, unless it's something really special. But otherwise I probably will, if I want to get a custom frame, I'll probably just get it from Hobby Lobby. It's way more budget-friendly, economical. The first one comes out of the book Hello Autumn by Teresa Kogut, and it is called Folksy Thomas. So I think I started this last year, in the fall of the year maybe. I stitched on it with a group of friends. Started off as assignment stitching, and I think I got like down here and I just decided to go for it and finish it. Sort of get it out of the mocking basket of whips. So the frame that I decided on was this one. So this one sort of has a moody coppery look to it, which I love. So depending on the light, it can go dark or it can be nice and bright. I love it. It's got all the vintage feels to it that I just absolutely love in my frame choices. And I couldn't be more pleased. As soon as I laid this down onto it, because I must have tried like 8 different frames, but when this one was set on it, the whole thing just like sprung to life. So I knew that this was the perfect frame for Folksy Thomas. So very happy to have this one done and in a frame. So to frame it, I used a piece of mat board and 3 pieces of batting, and then I just laced it. So I have so many of these frames that are waiting to have their backings all finished. So like the ones I did gosh, it's probably been a couple of months ago now. They're all down the hallway. So any framed piece I've done like in the last 4 months, they're all down the hallway waiting to be completed on the backside and then have their hangers attached. So I love this. So I stitched a Folksy Thomas on a piece of 36 count parchment by Weeks Dye Works, and I did use all of the called for threads, and I stitched it 1/2. I love it. So I'm very happy to have this one done. So I will confess that when I finished this piece, I had no idea what I was going to do with it. Several people on Instagram had finished it as a pillow, and that looked really good. I just didn't know what to do with the pillow. I have a doggy, so in the fall when this would come out, if it was on the couch and he jumped on the couch after coming in from outside, it would have a beautiful paw print on it. So that was a worrying factor for me. So I knew it was going to have to be framed, and it had to be just the right kind of frame, and this one just checked all the boxes. So very, very pleased with this one. So again, I had this custom ordered from Michaels. And the second frame that I bought was for And Heaven and Nature Sing by Kathy Barrick. Now I'm just going to go on record as saying that I 100% believe that the frame that I picked out from Michaels was 800 million times better than the frame that I picked out from Hobby Lobby. Two completely different color palettes. And one of these days when I finish something and it's able to go into it, I will tell you which one it was. But here is the frame finish. I love it. I love it, love it. So I saw this frame, this brown frame, kind of early on. I tried out so many different ones with this piece, and nothing, I mean, they all looked good. I felt like this one looked the best. And then the gal that was helping us brought out this fillet and popped it in here. And as soon as she laid both of them down, it was like, this is it. This is the one. So I've never had a fillet put in my frames before. Usually I'm a very simple girl, so a simple frame finish is perfect for me. But I just feel like this adds so much to the piece, and I'm so super glad that my husband talked me into it, even though this frame was so expensive. But I love this piece, and I love all the elements of it, and if he would not have been there, I wouldn't have picked this out. I would have been like, oh, no, thanks. Because this cost almost as much of the frame. I mean, they were pretty close in price to each other. So I probably would have said no, but he was like, just get it. It looks great with it. And they also had a green one, and I had the green one put next to it too, and it looked good, but the red I felt like needed a lot more help than the green. So I went with this one, and I love it. I absolutely love it. It was the right call. And this is going to look so amazing hanging up in my house during Christmas and winter. I'm so super happy that I have it done. It's a piece that I've been wanting to work on for a really long time. It started off as assignment stitching with a group of friends, and it was another one that I just decided to keep going on to kind of get it out of the mocking basket of whips. And I'm so glad that I finished it. I love it. So I stitched And Heaven and Nature Sing on a piece of 40 count Biscotti. And I can't remember if it's by Tropical Stitches or Lap and Loops. And I'll try to figure out which one it is, and I will list it down below if you're curious, because it's an amazing neutral linen, and I love it, and I would love to get some more of it. I also used Vicky Clayton silks, and it's just perfection. I love stitching with silks, especially, I mean, Vicky Clayton silks are the only ones I've ever stitched with, and I love working with her silks. All right, let's move on to progress over these past 4 weeks. I can't remember if I mentioned earlier that stitching wise, I am kind of lucky if I get an hour a night, because I do, I get home from work between like 5:15 and 5:30, and I usually wrestle with Fred. Because he's like the only one like super happy to see me. Like he's super happy to see me. It makes it worth a long day at work knowing that I get to come home and my dog is like over the moon ecstatic to see me walk through that door. So I usually spend some time with him. And then it's usually like dinner and all of that. So by the time I go into stitch, it's usually between like 9 and 9:30. And depending on how rough the day has been, there was a couple of days where I maybe stitched for half an hour and then I just turned off my light and I just sacked out. So I've been getting between like an hour dedicated stitching a night to maybe 2 hours if I'm really lucky. And I know, of course, once the fall gets here and the seasons change, I'll have more stitching time. But over this past month, on average, I've averaged about an hour a night, except on my days off. Then I usually will get like 2. There was one day we were watching a movie, so I got like 2.5 hours, which was really nice. But I have decided some things about my stitching, which as I go through them, I'll talk about them a little bit. But a couple of days ago, I made the decision that I wanted to stitch this particular project, and it's called Bittersweet and Broomsticks by Brenda Gervais with Thy Needle and Thread. And I do want to apologize if I call it bed knobs and broomsticks, because that's just what I think about whenever I go to say the name of it. So it's very possible that that's what you will hear, but it is Bittersweet and Broomsticks. I've had this one in my stash, the chart in my stash for a little while. And I think even last year I took it out and wanted to stitch on it and I didn't, and I regretted it. And so this year I came across it. I decided to go ahead and start this. I pulled from stash. So I pulled a piece of 40 count sand by Picture This Plus, and I went through my stash of threads and I had about 70% of the threads, and then the other ones I had to kind of go with ones that looked really similar. And even now I need to go in and find something a little bit more khaki for the stars, because the original color that I pulled was blending in with the linen. So I worked on this for 3 evenings, absolutely loved it. I plan on sticking with this until it's done, so I, hope to finish it in the next few days. But I love it. It's been such a blast to work on. I'm so glad I made the decision to do that instead of just pushing it to the side and not, because I remember last year, 100%, I regretted not working on it. So I love it, and I hope in my next video to have it finished. And I hope not only is it finished, but it's in ye old trench bowl for the Halloween season. After my last video, and for about 3 evenings, I worked on Gathering the Greens by Stacy Nash. I think I remember talking about this in my last video, and I got the sudden urge to work on it. I can't remember why that was, but I did. So I worked on it for 3 evenings, and then I rotated to another project, but this is how far I got. So I managed to make my way over to the house. It's not tremendous progress. This was on the 3 days that I worked on this. I think all 3 of those days I was pretty tired, and I only, like one of the days I only worked a half an hour on it. So it didn't get a tremendous amount of progress, but I have decided that I want to get this one done in time for Christmas this year. So it's definitely high on my priority. So I'm stitching Gathering the Greens on a piece of 36 count gray by Weeks Dye Works, and I'm using all of the called for threads, stitching at 1/2. I love it. And I think if this is the size, then I think it might turn out to be maybe that green frame that I had originally bought for And Heaven and Nature Sing might work for this, but I don't know. I should go out and get it and see. It would be perfect. And wouldn't that be kind of funny? Anyway, so I definitely plan to get back to this one relatively soon. But I love it. It's definitely one that I want to get done and have it on my wall. There's another one, I think by, it might be Brenda Gervais. Oh, what is the name of that one? It's very similar to gathering the greens. Is it heaping the wood? I think that's it. But it looks pretty similar to, I mean, different, but I mean, the two of them could very easily go together on a wall and look made for each other. But I think it's heaping the wood. That is another one that I would like to pick up and maybe work on next year. After I worked on Gathering the Greens, I picked up Christmas at Hollyberry Farms by Stacy Nash. So this is one that I do want to get done before Thanksgiving this year. And I was at work last week and, you know, just kind of, I don't want to say that I was just kind of daydreaming, but I was daydreaming a little bit. And I was thinking about this one and thinking about, oh, I've got like tons of time left to get this one done, no problem. And then I started doing the math and I realized there's only 4 months left to this year, not counting August. So, and if I want to get this done by Thanksgiving, I've got like 3 months to get this done. So I was glad that prior to that, I had picked this one up and started working on it. So I was able to get all of the windows done. The roof, I knew I just needed to get that roof done before I moved to my assignments. And I briefly started filling the house in. So basically the house now just needs to be filled in and then the chimneys at the top added, or not the chimneys, there's like a widow's walk. There is a chimney. There's one on either side, and then there's a widow's walk. So I need to add those the next time it rolls around. But I also found myself wanting to work on other parts of this. So what I'm thinking I might do is work in other areas of this piece and then move back and forth to the house and fill it in as I go. But I love this one. It is so amazing. I just absolutely love working on it. And I know I want this one done. I want it hanging at Christmas time this year. Like I want this done. So I think once the house gets done, it should go pretty quickly. I mean, if you look at it, the house is what dominates the whole entire piece. And then all the other motifs are just added bits of fun. So I need to work on the alphabet and then work on the little motifs down below. But yes, my main goal is to get this one done. So I think that when I finish October 31st, I need to spend an hour working on Autumn on Leesburg Mountain, and then I'm going to move to this and I'm going to work on it for another week and see how far I can get. So I'm stitching Christmas at Hollyberry Farms on a piece of 36 count hog bristle by Fox and Rabbit. And I'm stitching it with called for threads, stitching at 1/2. I had a couple people ask where you can pick up a piece of hog's bristle. And the last time I was window shopping, Hollis Hands Creates, I think she had some in stock because I thought about buying some and I actually ended up buying something else instead. So after I worked on my Christmas projects, I picked up Houses of Popcorn Hollow by Carriage House Samplings. So we have been working on this block here, which is block number 5, and I was able to complete it. And here it is. So I am just over the moon, ecstatic with how well this is coming together. I love working on this, and after I finished it and pressed it and I was just kind of looking at it, I love the texture that it creates. It's almost like a tapestry when you're feeling, you know, when you pick it up and you're looking at the stitching and you have it like this, it just has that, I don't know, that tapestry type feeling. I'm totally digging it. I love it. So next month I will start working on block number 6, which I think we're going to work on that one for 4 months, and then the blocks will get expedited. So instead of taking 4 months to work on one block, we'll take 2, but we'll see. At least that's what the plan is as of right now, August 20th. But I love working on this so much. I am looking forward to getting to the next one because I do like it. I mean, I'm not like super excited to do all of the dark fill-in, but yet at the same time, I can't wait until the block is done and to see it finished in 4 months. So we'll see. But I enjoy working on this one so very much. I was so super thrilled to get block number 5 done, and I love the color of it. I love how it turned out. And I am stitching this on a piece of 40 count Heritage by Picture This Plus, and I'm using DMC threads, stitching it 1/2. I just love how it turned out. It just makes me so happy. I just love it. So fun, so fun. Such a great project. I love it. On Sundays, I continued working on His Eye on the Sparrow by Heartstring Samplery, except for this last Sunday because I forgot. For whatever reason, I thought it was Saturday until yesterday, and then I had to send Michelle a message letting her know that I did not get to work on it. But this has been my Sunday stitch with Michelle of Cozy Egg. I love working on it. It's so much fun. I can't believe I forgot. What I've decided to do is to make up my Sunday is this coming weekend, Saturday and Sunday will be Sparrow weekend. So I will work on it to catch up. So this is the progress that I have made so far. I have been exclusively working on the house pretty much these past, well, 3 weeks because I didn't work on it this past Sunday. So I am hoping that I will have the house finished this weekend and then can start back on the motifs. I probably will jump up to the border and stitch more of the border because as I go, I would like to make sure the border follows. So I enjoy working on this one. It's such a blast. And I'm stitching His Eye on the Sparrow on a piece of 40 count One More Reproduction by B Stitch Me, and I'm using all of the called for threads, stitching 1/2. I got Michelle's permission to use her house conversion, which basically was gassed mulberry, and mulberry is one of my favorite reds. And I was glad when she said she was totally cool with me copying her. But I love it. I'm so glad that I did it in that color. It just pops. I just love it. The last bit of progress I have to show you is on the shores of Hawkern Hollow by Carriage House Samplings. I have been working on this block right here. And it has been assignment stitching that I've been doing with a group of friends. I thought by now I would have this block done, or not done, but I thought I'd have the house filled in for today's video. So after I had finished my Houses of Hawkern Hollow block, I picked this one up and I stitched on it for like maybe 40 minutes. And all I did was work on the fill-in of the house, and that was it. So I've kind of made a decision about this piece. I realize, so what happens is when I'm working on a Hawkern Hollow, depending on how much stitching there is and how much stitching time I get, they can take 4 to 7 days to work on just to finish the segment that I'm supposed to finish. And I've decided that for the time being, I'm gonna bump this and I will return to working on this in January or throughout the fall. As you know, if I am in between projects, I might pick this up and, you know, work a little while on the block. Or if I have like a lazy, you know, Sunday watching, you know, listening to football or watching the Chiefs play or what have you, I might pick this up and work on the block just to try to get it finished before the end of the year. And I realized that I will fall way behind the group of friends I'm stitching this with, but it's okay. I'll catch up down the road. But for right now, I think I'm just gonna bump this one until I get my Christmas pieces finished, because that definitely frees up a week of stitching for me during the month. And so that'll just bring me to my 2 assignments, or my two assignments. So it'd be Sarah Stewart Hardman, which I did finish her segment and I forgot to bring it today, so I'll show it in my next video. But it would just be the Houses of Hawkern Hollow and then Sarah Stewart Hardman. I can't believe I forgot to bring her out. But so for the rest of the year, this one I'll just kind of put in every now and again, and then in January I'll pick it back up and continue on with it. But for right now, until I get some of the things that I want to get done, I'm just gonna kind of push this one to the side until the first of next year. but I am stitching it on a piece of 40 count Prairie Grass by Seraphim Fabrics, which looks very Pacific Northwest to me, and I'm using DMC threads, stitching it 1/2. It is a fun piece to work on. And again, between now and the end of the year, I will try to get block number 4 complete. And then in January, I'll just kind of pick it up and divide it into 3 or 4 segments and then go from there. But for now, I'm just going to kind of set this one aside until I get some of my other things finished. I do have one finish that is not cross-stitching related, but I finished it this morning and I'm so super in love with it. It is called Primitive Ghosts Make Do Dolls, and it is by Tammy Frank of Rock River Stitches, and I apologize if I have mispronounced her last name. She has an Etsy shop where she sells some of the primitive items that she makes, but she also sells the PDF downloads and paper charts for her creations. So I picked this one up a couple of weeks ago because I've been dying to make one ever since last year, and I kind of ran out of time last year and I never got around to it. So I had finished the ghost body a week ago, and so yesterday I was doing some of my dyeing some of my primitive goods, and I went ahead and dyed the cheesecloth and then the little ghost body. And this morning I finished it. So I love how it turned out. He's so absolutely scrumptious. He smells amazing. He smells like a wonderful cinnamon coffee, and I love it. But he was a blast to make. You put him on an old textile bobbin, and he's absolutely perfect. I'm so glad that I decided to go ahead and try to get this one finished before today's video, but I love it. So he'll probably stay out all the way through until Halloween, because there's no point in putting him away just for, 3 weeks or however long it is before I start decorating. But I love it. I love it. It was so much fun. So I'll put a link to Rock River Stitches Etsy shop if you would like to make one of these for yourself. I'm also considering making them to sell. So if this is something that you might be interested in purchasing, please let me know down below, because I am looking at textile bobbins and trying to make the decision on if I should go ahead and purchase some of them to create some of these guys. It was a lot of fun. I would totally be up for creating a bunch of these, so let me know down below. So I did a little bit of shopping over the past couple of weeks. The first purchase I made was from Hollis Hands Creates. It is a piece of 36 count 18th century Blackbird by R&R Reproductions. So I had actually been window shopping for Hog's Bristle, and she must have just listed this, and I saw it and I just knew I had to have it. It's not very easy to get a hold of, and so when I saw she had it, I was like, yes please, and I purchased it. So I can't wait to find something to stitch on it. I think some of the Blackbird designs, I think there's a couple of things that they've created over the years that is stitched on that. I have some ideas of what I might want to stitch on it. One of them being Summer Jubilee, so we'll have to see. But since I had that piece of linen coming, I also bought some English Ivy for Sarah Stewart Hardman. And Christine always has the best customer service, and I ordered my linen and it came in like 4 days. It was crazy. And so I love ordering from Christine's Etsy shop, so I'll put a link to it down below. I did get an order from the Fat Quarter shop, so starting September 7th, I am going to be participating in the Hometown Holiday Sampler Sal. So the Hometown Holiday Sampler is designed by Lori Holt of BMY Bonnet, and the way that they have broken up the stitch along, so it runs from September to November and it's done weekly. So this is what the breakdown is. So it's very doable. I decided that I wanted to stitch mine on a piece of 40 count. So because I am doing that, my piece will be 5.5 by almost 7, so it's not going to be a very big piece. I picked up a piece of 40 count Affogato by Fiber on a Whim, which I think it'll look perfect on. And I also picked up the DMC thread pack, which I'm debating about swapping out some of the more brighter colors and kind of tailoring this sampler to more my aesthetic, but we'll see. So that starts on September 7th, and each segment is done weekly, so it's very, very doable. And I can't wait for that one to start. I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and it'll be another great Christmas project that I will have finished this year, because I think at the beginning of the year, one of my goals this year was to get more Christmas done. So if you are interested in participating in the Hometown Holiday Sampler Stitch Along, I'll put a link to the Fat Quarter Shop's Jolly Jabber blog where they talked about it a little bit. It's been a couple of weeks since they made that announcement, but I think it's going to be a lot of fun. You can pick up a PDF copy from the Fat Quarter Shop, and you can also purchase a hard copy as well. So I'll put a link to the Jolly Jabber blog post where they talk about it, and then the Hometown Holiday Sampler chart by Lori Holt. I'll put a link to it down below. But I think it's going to be a lot of fun. So if you're going to do it, let me know, because I would love to know. So speaking of the Fat Quarter Shop, they sent me a package over the past couple of weeks of new items that are available now on the Fat Quarter Shop's website, and I will put a link to their website down below. The first item is a quilt book called Halloween Memories by Susan Aki. And when this came, I immediately flipped through it because I'm a huge Halloween fan. And there are several, so not only are there quilts, but there are also cross-stitch charts. A lot of great ones, and ones that I would love to be able to stitch. And one of them I'm going to stitch for my very best quilty friend. But one of the quilts that immediately caught my eye, and I'm seriously considering making, and I don't know if I'm cuckoo crazy pants or what, because I don't even foresee me being able to get it done in time for Halloween, is this one right here. I love it. I just think it looks really cool. Now, I don't know that I'm going to be able to make this one. I highly doubt I will even work on it this year, but it's definitely a thought that I had. And of course, the cover quilt is amazing as well. I would love to be able to make that one. So the next thing that they sent me is Be My Honey. It is a cross stitch by It's So Emma. Very cool, especially for this late in the summer. It'd be perfect for that late summer look. Another one is a cross stitch pattern called July Fireworks, Shelf Life, number 7 of 12. I apologize. There are people that live around here. If you can hear the car that just went by, the cars around here, they put so many things on them. They're constantly backfiring. It's ridiculous. Anyway, I'm not going to edit that out. The next one is Ritzy Bitsy Babies, and it is a quilt pattern designed by Kimberly Jolly. So this one would be perfect for a baby shower if you're going to be going to one anytime soon or in the future. Another quilt pattern is called Family Reunion, designed by Sarah Price. This one's really pretty. I like that one. The Quilted Snowman. It is designed by Lori Holt, Be in My Bonnet. The perfect quilt for winter. Hometown Holiday Sampler, designed by Lori Holt, Be in My Bonnet. So this is the quilt, and I know that there's a quilt along that's going to happen alongside of the cross stitch along. So this is what the quilt looks like. A quilt pattern called On the Boardwalk, designed by Kimberly Jolly. This one would also be another great, easy baby quilt, beginner friendly, just a beginner friendly quilt. If you are interested in quilting or making a gift for a baby, that'd be perfect. And then the last one is a cross stitch piece called Hometown Neighborhood, Topiary House by Lori Holt, Be in My Bonnet. So fun. So thank you so very much to the Fat Quarter Shop for sending those items my way. And I will put a link to the Fat Quarter Shop down below if you are interested in purchasing any of those items. I have one little bit of mail left to show, and Lisa, who is Primzon Greenway, she had sent me a message last week and asked if I would be willing to adopt her Miss Mary Mac by La Di Da, and I said yes, because I absolutely love Miss Mary Mac. So she sent me the chart and what she stitched of it. So I basically will pick up where she left off. She also sent the silk threads that she was using for this piece. So I cannot wait to start working on it, pick up where she left off. This will be such a fun piece to have, not only the fact that I absolutely love Miss Mary Mac, but because Lisa started it, and so I will always have that memory attached to it, and it's just so cool. So thank you so very much, Lisa, for letting me adopt your Miss Mary Mac. And I do hope to start working on her as soon as I finish my October 31st. Well, my friends, that brings me to the end of today's video. If you stuck around for this length of time, thank you so very much. The plan for me will be to be back in 2 weeks with my next Quilty Tube video, and in 4 weeks with my next cross stitch update video. So that, I believe that cross stitch update video will be September 21st, round about then. I think it is Saturday, September 21st, because that is the first day of the Harvest Festival at work. It's gonna be so busy. Anyway, so yeah, that's in 4 weeks. So I plan on being back to share and show what I have been working on over the next upcoming 4 weeks. For everything that I have shared and shown today, I will list it down below in the description box if you're at all interested. And I also realized I went through the whole entire video today and I didn't turn on the light. So I have no idea what the background is going to look like when I throw this in the video editor. Rookie mistake. Oh my goodness. Sometimes these videos are put on like a wing and a prayer. I mean, I fly by the seat of my pants a lot of the time. But that's just life. Anyway, so I will be back in 4 weeks to share what I have been working on stitchy-wise. So I hope you will consider coming back and watching if you're new, or if you haven't watched my first Quilty Tube video, I'll put a link to it down below. And then again, I do plan on returning in 2 weeks to film the next one. So I think that's going to be a lot of fun. And I hope you will come back then as well to see those quilts. I had a blast creating today's video. So I do, again, thank you so very much for stopping by. If you would like to see what I am up to in between my videos, you can follow me on Instagram. I'm Pumpkin Hollow Quilts. Or I do have a Facebook page called Pumpkin Hollow Quilting, and I will put a link to both of those down below. Again, thank you so very much for stopping by, and I will see you all again soon. Bye.